Happy Wednesday, everybody. You know, it's been so busy in my weeks that sometimes I forget what day it is, but I don't forget that I'm going to be hanging out here with you. So I'm glad you're here with me. Now, we are going to do something else for Thanksgiving that's using the yeast bread that we made last Friday. So if you haven't seen the video from Friday or from Sunday where we made keto stuffing, because I know I say this to you guys all the time. Keto is not about giving up the things that you love. It's about finding new, healthier ways to have them. And today is going to be another new, healthier way to have something that I really enjoy, and that is bread pudding. And today it's going to be pumpkin spice bread pudding. So you don't want to miss this. Hang out, and we will figure out something else to do that is delicious and far more nutritious than the original version for Friday. And again on Sunday. Sunday is Thanksgiving. Well, this is Thanksgiving weekend coming up in Canada, and in our family we usually have our Thanksgiving dinner on Sunday, so we'll see what happens Sunday morning. I hope you can all be here. Invite your friends, invite your family. Get together at 10 a.m. Mountain Sunday morning, and we'll do a little bit of Thanksgiving together. Good morning, Dell. Okay, now we're going to have to hope that I'm all ready and organized this morning, because I do not have a production crew here today. So here we go. Okay, now on Friday we made our keto yeast bread. Just let me get rid of a little bit of stuff so I have a little more counter. And then we made stuffing. Well, today we are going to use two different kinds of bread, because you need some stale bread to make bread pudding. And this is an idea that was given to me by one of you that watches all the time. So thank you for that idea, because this is something that I really enjoy and I hadn't really thought about it. So here we go. Now, first thing that we are going to need is a bread knife, and it would probably be good if you could see what I'm doing here. So we'll just do this. Now, this is some of the 90-second keto bread that we've made together on the show, and then this is the yeast bread that we made on Friday. Now we're going to, this is 450 grams, so a pound. If you're doing pounds, it's about a pound, 16 ounces, however you like to say it. And we are going to cut this all up, and we're going to put it in a bowl, and that is going to be step one. Now you want the bread cut in cubes, and you want the cubes to be about ½ an inch. Now this, you saw, it stands up really well for stuffing, and it is going to stand up really well for bread pudding as well. Now we're going to do these so they're about ½ an inch. We'll see how accurate I am with this. Now, one thing to know is that the microwave bread is not going to stand up quite as well, but that's okay, because let me get my bowl here. Set this over here where you can keep an eye on it. The microwave bread isn't going to stand up quite as much or quite as well, but that's okay, because if it doesn't stand up quite as well, it's just going to incorporate into the custard sauce that is the delicious thing that makes bread pudding bread pudding. So we'll get this cut up first. And don't be too picky about it. People are going to eat this, and they're not going to care how perfect your bread cubes are. They're going to care what it tastes like. Now, we are doing a pumpkin pie spice bread pudding today. If you are not a pumpkin pie spice fan, we're not putting pumpkin in here. And you remember why we're not, right? Pumpkin is much higher in carbs, and we don't want to raise the carb count in anything that we're doing more than it already is. So, no pumpkin, but we are going to use the spice, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. Now, if you are not a fan of pumpkin pie spice, you can use apple pie spice. So Okay, I'm going to leave this up to you guys. Which one should I use today, pumpkin or apple? Let me know in the comments, because I like to see what you guys are thinking and what your favorite is. It is amazing to me that I have met several people in the last little while that don't like pumpkin pie. I don't get it, but everybody has their own tastes, and it's one of the things that makes this world exciting to live in. Okay, now I want to talk to you about people who are mistaken. And I know we've had this conversation before, but I want to do it again. So there are a lot of people in this world who like to tell stories about things that they know nothing about. Or they tell stories about things that they think they know something about, but they are mistaken. And I choose to believe that most of the time people are not lying to you. They are... there we go. We don't want to miss a crumb here, do we? Okay, so I choose to believe that people are not lying to you. People are making an error, and most often they're doing it because they care about what's best for you. And I had somebody at my table who was telling me how dangerous keto was. And so we stood there and I listened very intently, because it's important. Maybe I'm going to learn something new. And certainly if I hear something that I haven't heard before, I'm going to come home and research it. And I'm very lucky to have a bank of scientists that are not paid by any pharmaceutical company or any corporation, or, you know, they are doing the research that they're doing out of concern for people's health, and not just my health and your health, but their own health. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, we've got the bread in the bowl, and we are going to add 375 milliliters, or a cup and a half, of either almond milk or coconut milk. Now, you can do whichever you like. That is entirely up to you. Now, I probably should have done this in a bigger bowl, I'm thinking, but that's okay. We will make do with this one. Then we're adding 3/4 of a cup, or 125, how many milliliters here? I've got 200 milliliters of whipping cream. You know, I always try to do things in milliliters for you guys, but in honesty, I work in cups most of the time, cups and teaspoons, and it's how my grandma taught me, so it's what I do. And pumpkin pie spice in my coffee with a little bit of vanilla, sugar-free vanilla syrup. Okay, so we have our almond milk or coconut milk, whichever one. Now, when you go to buy the almond milk or the coconut milk, make sure that it is unsweetened, because I assure you, if it is sweetened, it is not going to be sweetened with erythritol. Okay, so we have our bread cut, we have our almond milk or coconut milk, whichever you prefer. Now, I'm using almond milk today, but that's just because it's what I had. And then we have 200 milliliters of cream. And to this, we are going to add 5 eggs. Now, I am going to beat these eggs up a little bit in another bowl. Well, didn't get any eggshells in there. That's a good thing. Now, I have been so busy this week, and I am so excited. I'm going to be at a market again today. If you are in central Alberta and it is still October 6th in your world, I will be at the Wetaskiwin Farmers Market with 5 new products, and they are individual spices. So if you are looking for paprika, smoked paprika, cayenne, dill, or mint, all 5 of those are going to be part of my TSL Organics lineup today. So I do what I can do, and I've been busy making labels. And typically, I get the labels ready, and then bring the spices in and bag them and have them ready for you to buy if you're watching them. Now, if you are watching for the first time, let me know that you're here. If you're watching for the second or third time, let me know that you're here too. Now, we're going to get a whisk, and we're going to take our 5 eggs. So this is a kind of a custard-based dessert. Ah, that's awesome. I just got a splash of egg right in the eye. I'll maybe do this a little bit with my hand so I don't get another one. Okay, so that is beat up about as much as it needs to be. So we're going to add this in with our almond milk or coconut milk if you prefer. It really is important that you know when I'm doing something with almond milk, you can easily substitute coconut milk. So for anyone that has a nut allergy or a nut sensitivity, you can deal with that just by, I'm just going to take the last little bit of cream here. I don't like to waste whipping cream. It's way too delicious. Okay, so you can deal with that by using coconut milk instead. Now, that in mind, both types of bread that we have in here today are made with almond flour. I do not have a recipe yet, and I'm going to have to work on this because there are different kinds of flours that we can use and that are keto. We've got almond flour, coconut flour, lupin flour. So I'm maybe going to have to work on another kind of bread recipe that doesn't have almond flour in it. But I can assure you that is not going to happen today. Okay, so to our milk, cream, and egg, we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And you'll notice I'm not using my clear vanilla today because it's going to go in the bread, and the bread doesn't matter whether we have clear vanilla or not. The color of our custard base doesn't matter. Now, I am going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to take our TSL Organics pumpkin pie spice. Now, you guys didn't tell me, should I do pumpkin pie spice or apple pie spice? So we've got like 3 seconds, and then pumpkin it is because it is my favorite. Okay, 1, 2, yeah, that's it. I guess it is pumpkin. Okay, well, that's going to make my mouth very happy. So I'm going to mix 3 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice in here. So, and this is one of my newest recipes. I wanted this one done for Thanksgiving season because Thanksgiving and fall and pumpkin are just things that need to be. Now I'm mixing this in with my sugar. And the reason that I'm doing this is because any type of a powder that you use, whether it's a xanthan gum or, whatever it is, it can clump. And I really do not want this to clump. So we are just going to mix it in with our sugar like this, and that way we don't have to worry about it clumping. So our sugar might clump a little bit here, but we're going to get this all mixed in well. Now I have 100 grams of granular white erythritol that we're going to add in here. And I have 100 grams of brown sugar substitute, another erythritol product, and both from Amson Naturals. So, if you haven't tried their products, I strongly recommend that you do. Now you can see how beautifully, how do you like that English? How beautifully mixed in this is. So we've got no lumps of spice in here. Okay, so we are going to sprinkle this in here. Now the brown sugar we're going to sprinkle in next. So we have 200 grams of sugar. So this is a much sweeter dessert than some that we make, but it's bread pudding, so it is what it is. It is what it needs to be. Now, we're just going to set this over here and grab a spoon, and we're going to get this all mixed in here. Okay, now we have our cream, our almond or coconut milk, whichever you prefer. And we are going to mix this together, and this is going to be absolutely delicious. Now you can make a big batch, you can make a small batch, whichever you prefer. And today I'm going to put these in little individual pans because this again is something for um, for doing bread pudding in, or really anything that you want. You can do individual quiche or individual meatloaf, whatever you like, and it's a great way to portion your food before you cook it so you know exactly what you're having, and if you're sharing it with somebody, that's another great way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to grab a glove and we will get these dishes buttered. Now you want them buttered so that the bread pudding doesn't stick quite as much. It's still going to stick a little bit, but not as much as it would have. So you can try turning it out, but I'm not really sure that it's going to work very well. I haven't done this with parchment paper in the bottom. I suppose you could try it, but if it sticks a little bit, I'm okay with that, because when I scrape the sticky bits off, those are mine. Okay, this is going to be one of the desserts along with the no pumpkin pie that we made a week or so ago. So what are you doing for Thanksgiving? Are you going to have, pardon me, are you going to have a lot of people around you, or is it just going to be you and one or two family members? However you're going to do it, it's important that you find ways to be thankful. And one of the things that I absolutely intend to be thankful for is this bread pudding, because it will be put away so that it's ready for our Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of this spoon, and I'm going to grab a larger spoon so that I can dish this up a little more easily. Let's get some of this stuff out of our way. Okay, butter goes back where it belongs. Now this, you can see how kind of soupy this is, and you can also see how well this bread is holding up. So some of the other type of bread is just going to kind of mush in here, and that is absolutely okay. So we're going to get this in here, and it's going to go in a 350-degree oven. And we're just going to keep an eye on it. Now if you, yeah, there we go. If you do a large pan, it's going to take about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. So you do have to watch it. When you're doing smaller plates like this, it's important that you remember that they're not going to take as long. And so keep an eye on them. I would say probably about half an hour. And you want to make sure that the eggs are thoroughly cooked. Okay, now we'll move these two out of the way, and we'll move the two that are empty over here so that we can fill them. Now, I like to have one done so that I can taste it while we're hanging out here together, but I've had a busy morning, so I do not have a batch ready, and I didn't have that much stale bread, and realistically, folks, I don't need to make quite that much bread pudding. Now, if you are trying to figure out what you want to make for Thanksgiving dinner, or for dessert for Thanksgiving dinner, this is definitely one idea. But the other thing that you can try is do something new. What is your favorite dessert? And do you know a way that you could keto that dessert? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. But it's always fun to try. At least in my kitchen it is. I know a lot of people who really don't care for cooking. They don't want to try changing any recipes. And that's okay too. Everybody has their own likes and dislikes. And I'm going to get back to talking to you about keto. Now, I have more here than is going to fit in these dishes, but that's okay. We are going to throw these in the oven. Well, maybe not throw them, but we will gently put them in the oven. And we're going to have them in here for about half an hour. I'm going to set a 25-minute timer and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so those are in the oven. Alexa, set a 25-minute bread pudding timer.
Bread pudding timer, 25 minutes, starting now.
There you go. She is so helpful, isn't she? Now, because I have some more of this left over, I have a small casserole dish. And I'm going to put the rest of this, hopefully all of it fits in here. So I'm going to do the small casserole dish after I butter it. So another glove. Now, something that I was telling you about, the person who was telling me how dangerous keto was. Something that we hear quite often, as you know, if you are a coach or someone who's doing keto, is it's not sustainable. Well, that depends entirely on the person and their dedication. Or we'll hear it is dangerous for your liver and your kidneys. That is absolutely not true. But when someone tells you that, it's not because they sat at home and thought about it and tried to figure out some way that they could turn you off of doing keto. It's because they read it somewhere. And I know that there are articles out there, and the fact that somebody wrote it on the internet does not make it true. So don't take it as gospel. If you have questions about keto, find places that will give you good information. I am happy to answer questions, and I love it when people come and ask me. Okay, now we're going to get rid of the butter dish again. So feel free to come and ask questions about keto. If I know the answers, I'm happy to share it. If I don't know the answer, oh shoot. Okay, well, I'm making a little bit of a mess here, but not too much. Okay, here we go. And this is going to fit in this little casserole dish. One of the things that doctors and scientists have been looking at with the ketogenic way of eating is the benefits for people that have fatty liver disease and the benefits for people that are struggling with different kinds of cancer. There's so much research going on that's telling us that this is an amazing way to nourish. Yep, that is going to be amazing. That this is an amazing way to nourish the human body. So, keep doing what you're doing. It's only unsustainable if you give up. So, ask yourself when you start doing this, how am I feeling right now? And then check in with yourself every day. It took less than a week before I had totally gotten rid of my lower back pain that I had been dealing with for years. Now I'm going to put this little casserole dish in the oven with my other little bowls. Okay, now I will absolutely show you on Friday what our bread pudding turned out like, and maybe I'll share a bite as much as I can with you. But from now until then, I hope all of you take time to learn about the ketogenic way of eating, the ketogenic lifestyle. It is not something that is bad or dangerous for your body. It is something that, whether you are dealing with type 1 or type 2 diabetes or heart disease, or maybe you don't have anything, and it doesn't matter whether you are 5 years old or 105 years old, keto is an appropriate way, or low carb is an appropriate way to nourish the human body. It is not a weight loss diet, and it is not a diet that's going to hurt you. So, I want all of you to do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. I'm going to keep an eye on these dishes of bread pudding in the oven, and I will share them with you on Friday when we get together, where we will be doing another Thanksgiving dish. So until then, have a great day, and I will see you Friday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain. You don't want to miss it. We're going to do another wonderful Thanksgiving dish. So I will see you